my entire family uprooted. They came to America with $2,000. Only thing that got them through was real estate. Prior to having kids, I was building myself up as an entrepreneur. And being a mom, I kind of lost myself. My first property that we acquired, I was 26 years old.
Did you make money?
Despite having the mom guilt and everything, fuck the mom guilt. I need to put myself first. That's how I'm able to give my best, my 100 to my husband, to both of my kids, to my family.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another fire episode of the Winners Club podcast, where even when we don't win, we learn, and learning is a form of winning. My name is Brian Tran. I'm your host. I got my co-host here, PJ Padua.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
And today we brought on a real special guest, an up-and-coming mompreneur in the flipping space. We got none other than Jenna Zhong. Welcome, Jenna.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, PJ.
Yeah, so Jenna has been in the real estate space for quite some years now. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but she is just, you just flipped your first property, and actually you haven't even gotten an offer yet. So this is actually really exciting times, because now we can get the real experience. But she's a mother of two, loving wife to a really good guy. He's a good friend of mine. And so I know she holds it down. He holds it down. And I want to go into being a mom, running this business that you're just starting off, right? And how do you balance all of it?
I love it. So let's get into it. Jenna, go ahead and introduce yourself for the audience, just in case we didn't miss anything,
Yeah. So my name is Jenna. I started in real estate about 5-6 years ago as an agent selling and buying real estate. So about 3 years ago, I had my first child, right before pre-pandemic. And when I was pregnant, I decided to take a break from real estate, just focus on mommyhood, because
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I decided to just focus on mommyhood, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
And that's cool, because I did fatherhood, but the fatherhood stuff is a lot easier than the mommyhood stuff.
Is it?
Well, dude, because I didn't have to birth the baby, carry the baby for 9 months, and then not to mention the downtime, the recovery time. I took a couple days off, but then I was right back into the groove of things. Whereas if you're a mom, you have to go from obviously your whole body's changing, and then you give birth, and granted, let's pray that you don't have to do a C-section, because then that's a longer recovery time. And then, you got to breastfeed, you got to you have all your hormones all jacked up, and then yet you come back into the workforce and just boom, nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much more credit that is owed to moms and all that stuff out there. And that's why I wanted to bring her on to give a different perspective on what's it like running a business and being a mom.
Yeah.
Because I share on the podcast all the time, what it's like me being a father doing it. And I'll be honest with you, not a whole lot has changed other than, I'm on a very, very tight schedule.
Yeah.
Right. But with moms, dude, the kids 9 out of 10 times will always be more connected with their mom than their dad.
Yeah.
For sure.
They're
going to want them more.
Yeah.
So Jenna, I'm going to bring it back a little bit, because you kind of said you were a realtor, but what were you doing before?
Before real estate, I was working in the tech industry.
No way.
Oh, no way.
In sales?
In sales and also in HR. So I was doing a little bit of HR in a tech startup at Magic Leap. And then that's when I decided, I figured real estate is something that I needed to pursue, because having a 9-to-5 wasn't going to give me that financial freedom.
Dang.
And,
were you already interested in financial freedom at the time at working at your tech job?
Yeah, actually. So I started investing in real estate when I had my first, when I was in tech.
Oh, cool.
My first property that we acquired, I was 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And it was out of state.
Oh, what'd you buy?
It was the single family rental property.
Do you still have it?
No, I sold it.
Did you make money?
Slightly, yeah. Made a little bit of money, but we, looking back now, we should have kept it and refinanced it.
Where did you buy?
Well, we had one in Illinois and one in Chicago.
Oh, dang! Wow. How did you pick those states?
We followed this podcast before in a real estate podcast, and we decided on those properties. So
wow.
Did you cash flow?
We cash flowed.
Okay.
Like a few $100 a month.
That's pretty good.
That's
I mean,
cool.
Normally, Illinois is not like a place that people typically want to invest in because the landlord, it's not very landlord friendly either.
Yeah, I mean, in the area that we were at, it was decent. I mean, we weren't doing anything too crazy, so it was just got a renter in there. The renter was all right, but what we learned from it was how important it is to have the right property manager.
100%.
Because we didn't have a great experience, and we had to rehire property managers. And
Well, let's talk about that because I think some of our listeners will like to know that because we do talk about out of state investing a lot. But what makes a good property manager and what makes a shitty one?
a good property manager is in the area. They're your boots on the ground, because when you're out of state, you rely solely on them to check on the renters. If there's any issue that arises, that they're on top of it, that they can send vendors out right away. And also a property manager that you can reach directly. Like, don't go to those big companies where you need to be connected to many people just to be connected to the person that's going to handle your property.
Oh yeah,
That's good.
so that's I mean, because that's with ours I deal with one guy.
Yeah.
I call one guy.
Yeah.
And he's like in charge, and then he'll send out the people.
Okay.
Does he mess up sometimes? 100%, guys. Like, nobody's perfect. They're managing a bunch of units, so things are always going to happen. But as long as they don't dodge your calls and they always pick up when you call, like within, like they'll call you back within a reasonable time frame.
Yeah.
Usually within the end of the day or something like that.
Yeah.
But what else messed? Like, the first couple people you hired, what happened? They just didn't do anything, or?
The first company actually went bankrupt.
Oh.
And then we found out they were probably laundering the money, the rental money. So
Oh no.
yeah, they were actually the people that sold it to us too. So
It's very rare that you hear a property management company go bankrupt. Yeah. But dang, when it does, that means it was a really bad one. But okay.
That was
All
good
right.
though. Yeah, yeah. Property management tips from Jenna.
So what did you buy that property for?
so I bought it for around $200,000.
That's pretty
It
good.
was cheap at that time, like one
Yeah.
for 200, one for 400.
What do you think it's
Wow.
worth now?
It's probably like 600 now. It's been a long time. It's 10 years.
Yeah.
See, dude, in literally real estate in 10 years, that one tripled,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So they say every 10 years, as long as you buy in like the right market, they should double.
Yeah.
But dang, that one almost
Yeah.
tripled.
That's pretty good. I want to ask the story though, like why buy a rental property? Like, was it, I know you were listening to like podcasts about real estate, but was that what you got you into it? Or did you see maybe like family members or maybe a person on the internet that was doing it that really inspired you? Why did Jenna choose to be like, hey, I want to invest in rental properties?
Yeah. So I was born in China.
Uh-huh.
When I came to America, my entire family uprooted. You know, like, they didn't speak a word of English. They came to America with $2,000 in their pocket. I get emotional talking about it. And because we had to, like in China, we had a decent life. They had their own business. We were living pretty well, but my mom's family decided to all move here. So she followed suit, and then we got just to even get citizenship. And they always hear the American life is best for the kids. So they did that for us. And when they uprooted everything, like, my mom had to work at a dim sum place pushing carts, like dim sum carts.
Yeah.
And she was doing well in China.
She was doing well in China, owned their own business. My dad was
Yeah.
in the financial sector. And when he came here, he had to do handyman work.
Yeah.
And
Dang.
It's that language barrier that just
Yeah.
completely flips someone's world around.
That's so crazy to me. Like, I've actually never heard anybody leave because that's different. Like, my family had to leave.
Yeah.
The war was going on.
Yeah.
But with that one, I'm like, dang, they really put everything on the line. But
Yeah.
did you ever ask your parents, like, were they happy with their decision? Just curious.
I feel like now they're happy with their decision.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was tough. My mom told me she cried every single day.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like-
every single day. But her family's here. All of my dad's family is still in China.
Yeah.
And going back to your question, is how I got into real estate, is that just seeing my parents struggle day to day with this, like, with making barely minimum wage. Like, the only thing that got them through was real estate. Even
Yeah.
though they only had $2,000 in their pocket, they borrowed money from family.
Oh, wow.
And they bought real estate.
And they bought real estate.
Where did they buy?
Real estate. They bought their first one, I believe they bought in San Bruno. Like they were just
Good areas.
yeah, San Bruno.
I was like, wow.
Actually, they were buying thinking back to it now, they bought in San Bruno. They also had one in like San Francisco, like all around the area
Good.
and they were renting the properties, and just seeing where they're at now, it's like the only thing that got them through it is real estate.
Yeah. So that kind of opened your eyes. You're like, wow, like this is one of the best investments, and like almost like a safety net in a sense. More than that,
the Chinese people are so good at saving money, man.
Yeah.
Like they will pool money together. They will freaking like save everything.
Yeah.
And they're able to buy properties. That's what drove me. I'm like, yo, if they can do it,
yeah,
we can do it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Like,
that's awesome.
like they were earning less than we are.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like we're lucky we're college educated.
Mm-hmm.
We can go get a higher paying job. And then we speak the language, so we can navigate contracts better. We can actually like navigate the whole real estate process 10 times easier than them. But yet, like you see them do it, so it's like it's a reminder. Like there's nothing stopping you from doing it as well.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I just want to say thank you, Jenna, for sharing that story. I think that's really, really powerful and really moving. I think a lot of the listeners would enjoy that, as well as me. I think that's super cool.
Yeah. Dang. Okay. So now fast forward.
Yeah.
Quit your job. How scared were you jumping into real estate?
I wasn't scared. I was so excited.
Oh, wow.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
You weren't scared that your money was going to be like no more checks coming in every 2 weeks?
No, I guess coming from the background of my parents, just kind of making ends meet with what they had, I always knew that I would find a way.
Were you married at the time?
No, I was not married. I was dating. I was dating the same guy I am married to now.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so he had a stable job.
He was stable.
Yeah.
He was stable. There's always one that's a little wild.
That was you. That's good. Did you like save money, or were you just kind of like save money to pursue your real estate career?
Yeah, we saved money, but we also found different ways of using money. So instead of the regular way of just putting away money into savings, we've learned how to use debt in a good way.
Okay, cool.
To get into real estate.
Okay, cool.
Can you explain? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, for example, the property that we're living in now, when we bought it, there was actually a lot of equity in it. And we're able to tap into that equity with a line of credit. So we were able to access like $500,000 line of credit, and we use that to invest into real estate. You know, you don't use that type of money to buy material things. You use it to invest in things that will give you more of a return than what you're paying in the interest.
Yeah.
Of the line
You'd
of
be
credit.
so surprised that people don't grasp that concept. They treat it like, because then some people treat the line of credit like a credit card, and they'll use it to consolidate debt. And yeah, that's just mind blowing. But I think that's a good message that she put there.
Yeah.
You're basically you're arbitraging money, the bank's money. So they're giving it to you for 6%, 7%. As long as you can get a 10% return or 11%, whatever the difference is, you keep.
Yeah.
But that's why when people listen to Dave Ramsey and they're like, debt's bad.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like you just because you're not responsible enough to handle the debt.
Yeah.
And actually, when interest rates were really low, around 2%, we actually refinanced both of our properties. So we did a cash out refinance, and we were able to tap into like $400,000 in cash at a 2% rate, locked in.
Yeah.
40 in 30 years. So we deployed those into investments.
Wow.
That's the beautiful thing about real estate.
Yeah.
Leverage.
This is a very valuable podcast. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of things you can learn.
Who taught you this stuff?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
It's not any one person that taught me and my husband. It was a journey.
Yeah.
And we started at 26 years old. I'm going to be 36 this year. So 10 years of experience. And what's the most valuable is doing our first deal. You cannot just read on the sidelines and watch YouTube and watch people be doing stuff and learn that way. You need to just go into it, get into the experience. And even for us, like we didn't know how to use debt until we actually did it. We got our first refinance, went through the process.
Yeah.
And just gotta move forward. Just gotta get the experience. Just gotta do it, even though it's not yeah, it's scary sometimes, but
Would you say you have a high risk tolerance?
I do.
Okay.
I have a high risk tolerance.
Really?
Well, I don't. Well, it's high risk, but it's calculated.
Calculated high
It's
risk. Okay, I agree.
calculated risk
Yeah.
because if you're able, like for example, for this flip, like we know our numbers. Everything is calculated. Everything as an investment, it all needs to be calculated. That's what takes the scary away.
Yeah.
When everything is calculated.
I agree. Do your homework, guys. Do the math. And make sure the math is always mathing.
I love it. I love it.
So let's talk about that because I think you bring up, next thing that kind of caught my ears and my attention was you're the risk taker. So I take it your husband is not. Or is he, like, what is he? I don't want to put, like,
Yeah. No, he'll take the safer route, I would say. I feel like but every relationship needs somebody that'll be like the devil's advocate. Like, they'll make sure that everything is analyzed properly. Sure. And then you need somebody that's just going to say, do it. Like, just gotta get into it. And
do you think it would have worked if he was just as, like, risky as you?
I think we might be making more mistakes.
Okay. So sometimes him being cautious causes you to, like, research more and calculate a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
For him to be more on the safer side helps me be more conservative in my numbers. And being conservative in our numbers is really good because sometimes we'll look at the numbers and we're like, okay, we're gonna try to force this deal. How do we fluctuate these numbers? You can always make it work, but that's fairy tale land.
For sure.
You need to really.
We see a lot of flippers do that.
Yeah.
A lot. They want to do the deal so badly that they will. Oh yeah, $100,000 construction. No, it'll be 80. It'll be 80.
Yeah,
and where did you get this number from? You know
yeah.
But they want to do the deal, so they will. Yeah, like you said, just move some numbers around. Like, it's a deal. It's a deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is actually really cool. I think what you're saying is, I think that's cool, and I think that is kind of what you would want in a relationship, right? A nice balance. Like he sounds like the calculated to your risk, So that's how you guys get your calculated risk. It's like both of you guys are contributing to that. So I think even if you had, like you said, if you had two people like both risking it, like you guys probably would make more, but there's also like a 50-50 chance that you might lose everything at the same time.
Good chance.
There's a good chance, but Brian will be like, I'll put the bet
on. So how does that work now? Like, because some people, I see relationships where, like having one person being super cautious actually prevents the other person from fulfilling the dream and pushing the envelope. Did that ever happen with your guys' relationship? Like, did he ever, like, well, obviously I don't think so because I'm seeing you're doing this, but was there ever a point where he was like, no, I don't think you should do this?
Never.
Oh, that's good.
I feel like he believed in me more than I believe in myself.
Oh, that's good. That's a good partner.
I talked about it. I'm like, yo, I've seen relationships where I'm like, you can do so much more.
Yeah.
Like I see one partner, I'm like, you guys can make it.
Yeah.
You could make it. But then they go home and their partner's in their ear and telling them why they can't.
Yeah.
And guess what? They go right back to their W-2 job. I'm like, what a waste. What a waste.
Yeah, what a waste, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's good. What's your husband's name again?
Chris.
Chris, shout out to Chris, man.
Shout out to you, Chris.
You're a good man.
Keep pushing.
You gotta give credit where it's due.
You can retire soon.
So I want to go talk about it more. I want to like push the story forward a little bit more. So I know you did have you had a child, right? You mommyhood was coming. And were you already in like real estate while you had your child?
Yeah. So when I found out I was pregnant, that was like right when the pandemic happened.
Okay.
And I realized like, I think it's time for us to just take a break.
Okay, good.
For us to slow down because our first pregnancy, it was not as easy. So we figured maybe let's lower the stress. Let's just focus on our family, creating our family. So yeah, when the pandemic happened, it was a great time just to take a break. And right when I gave birth, like I don't know if this will be my only child. So let me just focus on her. Focus on motherhood for for 2.5 years of my life,
Yeah.
I was just focused on her. I didn't do much in real estate. We were investing passively.
Yeah.
I wasn't personally active in real estate, but we knew our money had to move. So we invested passively into deals with other people.
Wow.
And 3 years later, like where I'm at now, I decided, it's time to get back into real estate. Because being a mom, a full-time mom, it's hard. Like you get no mental break.
Yeah.
Like we're like being a man, it's okay because like you guys have a role to fulfill. Like, you guys can actually go to work.
Gotta go provide.
Go chop some wood.
Like Chris, he'll go back to work during the day, but I'm always a default parent. Whatever happens, shit goes down.
Yeah.
I'm always there for the kid at nighttime. I want to make sure Chris gets his rest so he can go to work in the morning.
Oh, wow.
But I'm always the one that's like up at night with the kids, or like he definitely helps it. He'll like step in as needed. But me being the mom, like I'm the mom, I need to take this on.
Yeah.
So I need to be that. I need to give a lot of myself to her, to these kids. So mentally, it was draining.
Yeah.
It's very. So I give it up to all of the moms out there that are full-time moms. That is a very hard job.
Yeah.
So even going back to my identity, like shifting, like when my daughter was 3 years old, then I figured it's time to, like, actually she was 2.5, and I figured I need to find my identity again because now she's in school.
For sure. What was it like, the identity that you were feeling? Like you were feeling that you were becoming something different now and you weren't sure? Like how was that?
I feel like prior to having kids, I was building myself up as an entrepreneur in real estate.
Yeah.
And being a mom, I kind of lost myself.
Yeah.
I was just being mom. And then now that she is going to school, it's like, well, what do I do with myself?
Yeah.
And that's when I decided, like, I need to go back into real estate. And I found I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The second one was kind of unplanned.
Yeah.
So going through the pregnancy already in the state of mind that like after his pregnancy, I need to fulfill my dreams.
Yeah, for sure.
It helps me get to the next steps faster. Like I wasn't stuck in the mindset of like, oh, I need to be a mom to like a full-time mom. Like I had everything planned out
for sure
from the time of birth. Like who's gonna help? Like how do I put myself first? Like what do I want to fulfill?
Yeah.
And how do I push forward?
Yeah, I think that's very amazing thing that you said, and I think it's important that to realize that like deep down you still had a desire to fulfill something, right? And you were aware of that, and like that's kind of why you have the identity, right? You like, for me or for you, you just didn't want to be like just all mom. Like you still had something like you in a sense maybe wanted to prove to yourself, and I think that was great. And also too, maybe for all the other moms out there listening, it's like there's still your life as well, like separate away from like your motherhood. Like you still have an identity and you still have someone to be if that is what you choose.
I always say like a lot of these moms and dads, they like even now because I get invited to all these dad clubs and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, it's a good community, but it's like, dude, they live through their kids. And I'm like, they have no real identity themselves. And I'm like, so what happens is they pour everything into the kids, and then when the kids go off to college, they don't know what they are. Like,
for sure.
What do I do now? Right. And so it's like, dude, just put your kid in daycare, put them in all this stuff, and go do what you want to do. Pursue your dreams.
Unless you really want to
balance it.
Unless you really want to be number one dad, then I get it.
Number one mom and stuff like that. I know some really great stay-at-home moms, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like they just don't know what to do now. They're like, well,
I mean, it doesn't mean you don't have to live a life just because you have a kid. Like that's what I think. And I mean, this is a little off topic, but in the same sense of like, it's the same thing when somebody gets in a relationship and they forget about
their friends anymore.
Yeah, exactly. They don't try to do their thing. They just want to bring their partner and do this, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So dangerous stuff, guys. Though.
What are your dreams?
My dreams. Well, I want to be able to provide for not provide for my kids, but I want my kids to not have the need to work at a job.
Yeah.
to
Are you
pursue.
sure you want to do that to them? Are you sure you want to do that?
I want them to. That's true, but I want to give them the opportunity to pursue what they want and make money from it too.
Yeah, I like that.
So they're like, Mom,
But not getting money from me.
I want to do art. Like, I just want to paint. And you'd be like, okay.
If that's what you want to do,
And you'll just support, like, okay, I'll give you 10,000 a month.
I won't
or
give
like
them
8.
money.
Well, how are they
No.
gonna live then?
what
What are you talking about?
I want to be able to teach them how to make money.
Yeah.
You know, and like a little bit biased, but through real estate too.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just
Well,
kind of
they're still
want
gonna have to work. They're still
I
gonna
think you
have
kind
They
of
still
just
have to work. Yeah, exactly. They still have to work, but
yeah.
I don't want them to work that hard. I still want them to enjoy their life too. You know, like,
No,
Yeah.
no.
You don't enjoy it.
I think we're gonna have to disagree there.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Yeah.
I think you're gonna put your kids at a crutch.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Well, I don't want to give them everything.
Yeah.
I absolutely don't.
I feel like what I think you're saying is like you're saying that you want to
have their back in case when shit hits the fan, but you're not. But until it hits the fan, you don't want to help them.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure. I wasn't gonna say that, but I think also like you want to do something that they could be like, oh, like my mom's cool and made a ton of money doing something like that.
That too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I want them to see me be like, yeah, that's my mom.
Yeah.
Go work for my mom. but then you might have a Yanni situation.
Yeah.
If you
That's
guys,
even another
haven't watched that podcast
That's
where
a good
Yanni
podcast.
did not want to go work with her mom,
Yeah.
you know, that could happen too.
Yeah. But what happened? Now she's in real estate and like she's happy.
Yeah, but she's not gonna work for her mom.
Yeah.
Well, maybe later on.
But she tried. She
But
tried.
yeah.
Though. She
Okay.
tried.
Cool.
That was good.
Man, that's cool. What
That was
what
good.
else is your dreams?
That's a good question. I need to go back to it. Well, even just like a 5-year goal dream, it's not a dream, it's a goal
It's a goal. What's the goal?
to have 20 million in assets.
There you
in
go.
5 years.
Let's
That's when
go.
I'm 40 years old, guys. Like,
Still young.
Still young. Still young.
so to have 20 million. So that's the reason why we're even doing flips right now.
Yeah.
You know, is to build enough capital to deploy into long-term investments.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, if you buy $10 million in real estate today, it'll be worth $20 million
In 10 years. Yeah. Hypothetically, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, people listen to that like, well, how are you gonna do that? Well, look, guys, just start small. Buy $1 million.
Yeah.
Buy $1 million. Buy 800,000, 500,000,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It'll double in 10 years.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, you just keep buying one every other year or every year, depending on your income level.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna get to 20 million? You got 5 years. You got
Yeah.
5 years to do it, which sounds like a long time, but you know, you got to take action. So
Yeah.
what's the action steps, Jenna?
The action step is to build enough capital so every year we need to earn. So 20 million to build enough down payment. So how much is that? 20
30%, because it's, you know, probably let's just say 30%.
Yeah,
So you're gonna need about
30%.
6 million.
6 million. So we need to build enough 6 million in capital in order to deploy into the investment.
So you got to make about
So 6
two.
million, about
You got to make
million.
about 2 million.
Mm.
a
year.
million.
2 million a year?
Well, because 2 million a
Like
year, then there's
Yeah,
some,
but
there's
you
some,
could
there's
do
some
like
3
taxes.
years,
There's
yeah.
taxes. So
1.5
two-
million a year.
Yeah. Well, 1.5 million net a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So that's why I was like 2 mil. You know, you're gonna buy some properties here, so you're gonna be able to depreciate in year one. So you know, about 2 mil a year.
Yeah.
So you got to flip how many properties? If each property makes about 200 grand, you got to flip 10 properties.
10 properties a year.
Okay, that's the math.
All right, let's get back into the story though, because I
That's
feel
the
like there is
story.
some things that I feel like we haven't talked about, and I want to
Yeah.
talk about, Jenna, like your transition coming back to flipping, right? Coming back after mommyhood. How was that transition going? And you know, where was your head at? Like
Yeah.
jumping back in. I'm assuming everything's still kind of fresh, but how was that going to your first flip?
Yeah, well, it was hard because the first, like, even right now, my youngest right now is 5 months. So we're still dealing with postpartum hormones.
Oh wow.
No, it's wild. Like the first 2 months, my hormones was all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
emotional, crazy, everything. But since I knew we needed to get into our first deal right away, immediately 2 weeks after giving birth, I was already out looking for properties. Like we were
Yeah.
looking at these fixer-uppers, and then just letting people know that this is what we wanted to do. We're looking for a project. So
Yeah.
kind of sending that out to the universe.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna ask, like, wouldn't you say like some people would some people could easily be like, oh, like I'm not gonna do my my flipping. I'm not gonna start this real estate journey again. Because I have like postpartum. Like, why wasn't that like for you? How come, despite having postpartum, you're like, I'm gonna just keep going?
How'd you push through?
Yeah, how'd you push through?
I had help.
Yeah.
You know, like having grandmas, both my grandmas,
Mhm.
both my mom and Chris's mom there to help, like really helps. And having the daycare, that was like, in a way, it's hard to kind of give up your kid, your newborn, to somebody else to help. But I feel like that was a way for me to have self-care for myself too. You know, because I knew I wanted to get back into real estate.
Okay.
Already prior to.
Yeah. Got you. Like, in a sense, like going and working on yourself and your business kind of helped the hormones.
Yeah. Well,
kind of helped the postpartum a little bit. You're like, oh, cool.
What helps with the hormones is definitely if you can get sleep, or your nutrition, your food,
Okay.
you got to exercise. You just got to take care of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither.
Never had to deal with that.
This is a good episode, man. Jenna, you have a lot of nuggets for sure.
But you know what? But you know, I know like people who suffer from like sadness. I'm not
Even
gonna say- I'm not gonna say
yeah.
depression. But like, you're sad, dude. Like the only thing that kicks me out of that shitty mood is I go hit the gym.
Yeah.
You know, you know, you just work out or you eat. You know, you take care of yourself and
Or
then
do
boom, you feel
something.
better.
You work a little bit on your business, like get excited about the future. And I think anything like, you know, depression, like, you know, I don't know, I can't speak about postpartum, but like for depression and sadness, like for me, anything moving forward instead of staying inside like the dark hole is going to help, you know?
As a mom too, I feel like we always feel like we have to give.
Yeah.
And we have to give to our kids, where we always put ourselves last. You know, like always making sure our kids are fed, they're like well taken care of. And then while I'm over here, you know, while I'm cooking food for them, I'm eating their leftover scraps, you know, and then it should be the other way around. You need to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
And
You know,
that's
they
what
always
I'm learning
say-
with the second kid.
When that airplane oxygen mask come down, you put the mask on yourself first.
Yeah.
Then you put on your kids.
Exactly. So with the first kid, I've learned the hard way, you know.
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
kid I went through, I did go through postpartum anxiety, depression through my first one, but the second one coming back, I feel like I know how to handle it differently. I know I needed to prioritize myself despite having the mom guilt and everything. Like, fuck the mom guilt. Like, I need to put myself first.
Hell yeah.
I need to take care of myself. Then that's how I'm able to give my best, my 100 to my husband, to both of my kids, to my family.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. I like that. Jenna's like,
Clip that.
Jenna, feed me deals and I'll feed my kids. I like that.
That's so true. Because I'd be like, my wife be like, oh my God, they're not eating. I'm like, so what? They'll eat eventually. Like, oh, so what? They miss one meal.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and like freaking try to chase them around feeding them. Like, nah. Let me go do my thing first. Let me go relax, and then we'll eat. Like the food's there. They know to eat it.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, it's not like
Come back to
they're not gonna die if they don't eat one meal.
Yeah. It's
What happens?
Like
They get cranky for the next meal, and then they eat, and then they're fine. But it's like, dude, you gotta take care of yourself.
For real. I like that, man.
Yeah.
You really do have to take care of yourself, and you know, whatever stage you're in your life, it's always important. You know, whether
How often do you talk about money in your household with Chris?
We talk about money, like financially, or like
Yeah.
investing.
Everything. Money in general. You got to budget. You got to talk about how you're spending the money, and then you got to talk about how you're investing the money. Like all of it. Like is that a scary topic that you guys have to like walk on
Navigate.
eggshells around each other?
Before it was not scary, but it would trigger us. It would trigger me because we both came from very different money backgrounds.
Explain.
For example, Chris's family, they were born here in America. They had very safe jobs, like very good jobs, and they saved. They saved a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and for them to acquire their first property, they were actually forced to buy their first property because they were renting for the longest time. And then they got kicked out of their rental, and then that forced them to buy their first property.
Yeah.
So Chris's parents, from what he learned, he came from a family of savers, you know, just like putting money in the bank.
Yeah.
So he is a saver mentality.
Yeah.
Whereas me, my parents can uproot everything and come to America with $2,000 and buy their first investment with barely anything in the bank, but just knowing that there's always resources. So I know, so me, like, I'm okay to not have a lot in the bank.
Yeah.
And he, like, I'm okay with uncertainty. Like, I'm a little bit riskier one, and then Chris needs the certainty.
Yeah.
So he needed to know what the 10-year, to make him feel comfortable, he wanted to know what our 10-year goals are.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like things change a lot within 10 years. So it was hard for us to kind of get on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, even though, like, we didn't have any issues financially, like our bank was, like, we were never in debt.
Yeah.
We had very, we had the same, like, belief in money in terms of, like, we know not to get into debt. We know to always pay our credit cards.
Yeah.
And how to use that, and that real estate is where we both would.
Yeah. Oh, it's really interesting.
How'd you get over the triggering of each other?
Yeah, so even before, like, we would have weekly meetings on budgeting and just to know, like, hey, where we're at, what are we gonna do with the money? And I remember that would trigger me.
Yeah.
And it was never a easy conversation. No matter how hard Chris tried to make it easy for me, he tried to set his tone right, but for me, it was always very triggering. And we actually hired a financial therapist.
Yeah, for sure. That's good.
Yeah.
What do they do?
So
I'm like, what's a financial therapist?
Yeah, financial therapist.
Wait, hold on. Before we get into this financial therapist, let's take a quick break and let's thank the sponsors, and we'll get right back to the show.
I want to thank our sponsors over at 50 Hills Real Estate for being the #1 real estate brokerage in Millbrae, California, and possibly the Bay Area, because they're the baddest and the coolest.
So if you do need to buy or sell any house, please contact 50hills.com and reach out to us. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Now back to the show. Now tell me more about this therapist. Like, what the heck does a budget therapist do?
It's a financial therapist, first.
What do they do?
It's a financial therapist.
Because you guys are already pretty good with your money, so I want to know, like, why do you need to hire somebody just to tell you, like, okay?
I'm interested. This is interesting.
Well, go ahead. Hit it.
Yeah, so I would say a financial therapist is somebody that is like a therapist, but then with an emphasis in finance. And he actually, it's funny because we didn't really get too deep about numbers, but then he helped us understand where our mindset was with money and what our background was with money and why we believe certain things that we do or do certain things that we do based on, family backgrounds.
Yeah. That makes sense. And that's why you said what you said earlier. That makes total sense.
So ultimately, did he side with you or did he side with Chris?
That's not what therapists do, dude.
That's what they do, bro. That's what they do.
It's so funny because the therapist just helped us understand each other without the emotions.
Yeah.
So we were able, like, after the therapist, he was well worth it. Like, we actually held back on having a financial therapist for years, but throughout those years, it was difficult having conversations about money. And
do they help create, like, set boundaries and, like, the ways you talk to each other about that, or is it definitely did. So even like you said, setting the boundaries, like when to have these conversations, or having, for me to understand why Chris is the way he is with money, and for him to understand my perspective and why I am the way I am, really help both of us. Yeah. And it actually, the financial therapist actually even, like, gave, like, me the freedom to do, like, earn the money the way I want to earn it. As long as take the risk and everything like that.
Yeah, as long as it meets our goals.
Yeah.
How much does a financial therapist charge?
I believe it was an hourly rate, like $250, $300 an
That's
hour.
it?
Don't quote me.
Guys, for $300 an hour, I will be your financial therapist. Reach out to me. All right, I'll knock this thing out in a week.
And also,
I'll knock it out in an hour.
And he'll pick sides.
Yeah. After the financial therapist, we actually hired what is that called? Like, financial planner.
To plan.
do
Oh,
that.
okay. To plan.
To
Like,
kind of plan.
Yeah, FP.
But I feel like that it gave Chris the certainty, so it helped him realize that, hey, in 10 years, like, how are we able to meet these goals for him to be
but
job optional?
But do they invest your money for you?
No, they don't. Not this one. So we pay this one hourly. We just pay her rate to help us plan, and she sets up everything for us, and then it's up to us how we take the action.
But does she actually, like, what does she set up for you guys? Because I mean, you're a flipper. She can't set up deals for you.
So
You know what I mean?
she'll tell us exactly like how much money we need to invest in. Either the funny thing is the financial. Actually, it's a financial advisor. I forgot.
Financial advisor, maybe.
It's like I always mix one of them up, and I
Yeah,
know one of
yeah.
them is a life insurance person.
She's not
Oh,
life
yeah.
insurance.
I forgot one, huh?
She's not a life insurance.
Yeah, but like one of them sells life insurance.
Yeah.
But she'll tell us like, okay, well, we need to acquire if it's a certain amount of properties by this. When you're 55, you can start selling off these properties, and these properties can start helping you get.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, for $300 an hour, I will also do that for you too. Right? I mean, it's
Just a little bit more expensive.
And only
okay,
for,
for
only,
$500 an hour for that one, I will help you do that one.
Yeah.
All right, because honestly, it's like, dude, I get it if you maybe like if you guys both work a W-2 job and it's like, okay, if you each put aside $1,000 a month into the S&P 500 or this ETF, you know, we can work out like on average you'll make 8 to 10%, and then we can just, you know, amortize it on like 30 years. You know, and be like, okay, you can retire at this point. But I'm like, that doesn't work with me. Like if I said I want a financial planner, I'd be like, Brian, you need to make this much. Mother effer, how am I gonna make this much?
Yeah.
So instead of like, I need somebody, like, that's the easy part. I know how much money I need to make. Show me how to make it.
Yeah.
I think that's more important. But I'm not doubting. I'm not saying like what you guys did didn't help.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, people, man, I'm in the wrong. I can start charging for everything. I really can start charging for everything.
You can, bro.
Dude, I'm gonna start charging people for everything.
But-
Guys, hire me.
Yeah, for a limited time today, you'll do it for
Yeah.
$500 for both.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy
Yeah.
because I'm like, what I really like about this and what you did in your relationship is that whenever you needed help, you hired somebody.
Exactly.
You were not afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Other people would just fight.
Yeah. I mean, I think what like comes down for me, I'm like understanding where your partner is at and like all aspects. Because again, you diving deep and understanding like why your partner is like this. I think it's always important to know because it does help. Did the financial therapist? Do you think it really helped you guys in communicating about finances?
It absolutely did. I feel like it was worth every penny.
Mm.
It was like, because afterwards we haven't like bickered or
Yeah.
had any complications about finances, and it's been.
Well, it's
it
because,
was it was
it's
an
because the
investment.
money keeps coming in. You only
Money's
fight when the
coming
money
in,
stops
yeah.
coming in. You know, but if the money keeps coming in, you're gonna be happy. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah, that's nice. Anybody.
the money keeps coming in. That's how you know Jenna's loaded. You only fight when you don't have money. You don't fight when money's coming in.
Isn't
good.
that a trip? And then you're like, all right, there's no money. Let's pay $300 more.
Yeah, you start like, okay, well, we got a budget.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's actually pretty interesting. I mean, guys, you guys.
No, I think
know
that
couples
I
be
think that's
fighting
great,
all the
man.
time.
I always think that what I'm hearing is like when help is needed, like go seek help, like go
Absolutely.
seek help.
Yeah.
I want to dive a little deeper into that though. So now, do you guys have a joint account?
Everything's joint.
Everything's joint. Okay.
We both have access to everything. Everything is very transparent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's different. Different.
Did you guys both agree on that? Like in the
Yeah.
beginning, did you guys were like, let's have like a joint account?
We didn't. It wasn't like a huddle and like, hey, let's just have joint accounts. I feel like that was how we would reach our goals. Like
Faster.
we both need to see what's happening.
Yeah.
If one of us don't know, then how do we achieve?
Yeah, I can see that.
That makes
They need-
sense.
they
And you
need to
guys
know.
pretty much are kind of doing the same thing. Your goals are very aligned together. So I can see how that does help.
And we have roles.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
provides a stable income.
Yeah.
He's a high W-2 earner, which is able to get us into these loans to get into flips for me to do my part in managing the project and doing the back end.
Damn.
So I tell people all the time, man, when you guys marry your partner or you find a partner, I mean, I'm gonna call it how it is, all right? It does help when you marry somebody who's making good money.
It does.
Like that, I'm not saying that should be a key trait, but damn it's right up there. All right, like
I mean, it's a big problem if
Oh, yeah.
if your partner's making nothing as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
It does kind of matter. It does definitely help.
Yeah.
Definitely does help.
That's crazy. I don't even know where to begin. Like, honestly, I don't have a joint account. There's no freaking way.
Yeah.
Because if I were to sit there and like have her look at all the accounts,
Yeah.
it'd be like she wouldn't be able to do her job.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job managing the accounts we have.
Yeah, I get that.
But I'm like, hey, whatever.
Well, I would understand a joint account. Say if like me and Christiana were like, hey, like let's get a rental property like in 2 years. I was like, maybe we should just open a joint account, right? Put an amount
put
both
something
inside,
into it,
and then like, I think that would help in that sense. But like I said, like Jenna and Chris have very similar goals, so it does make sense to propel them even faster. That sounds like the best plan, to be honest.
You know what's funny though?
What?
Because my personality is probably more closer to yours, but my personality used to always, I was Chris when it came to money. I would talk about money every day. Every day. And it's because I didn't have any. So I was like, dude, how do we make money? What are we doing? I need to make this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this to make this. And then it would drive my wife insane.
I bet.
And you know what? I just laughed at it the other day. I said, you know what? Aren't you glad I talked about money every day? Because what you talk about and what you focus on expands.
Yeah.
Truth.
Yeah.
You know,
Truth.
if I was like some of these other people, man, they'd be like, you know, whatever. We'll worry about money next week. We'll worry about money later. We'll worry about, like, it'll come. My time will come. Your time ain't coming, fool.
Yeah.
Your time doesn't come unless you put in the work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So anyways,
I like
Talk-
that, man.
talk money. But hey, I side with Chris. Talk money. I mean, every week, shoot, that's light work. Get your numbers up every day. And if you want to go real professional, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh my gosh.
Call your partner in lunchtime and be like, "Hey, babe, how do we make an extra $100?"
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we do still talk about money now, but it's different because now we're talking about how much we'll be profiting. in our
Oh, yeah.
lives. It's a different. It's different now.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
More exciting instead of
exciting.
you
It's
know.
also planning. It went from talking about budgeting to now about like how do we create value.
Yeah, it's more fun.
Yeah.
Budgeting's
more
boring.
fun.
I don't talk
Yeah.
about budget either.
Yeah.
You know what? When it comes to budgeting is important. Don't get me wrong, but like I think I get what you're saying because you know how money's made, right? When in business, it's like you have your expenses,
Yeah.
and you have income.
Yeah.
Your expenses
Oh,
is
yeah,
how you
yeah,
budget.
yeah.
Everything else between here and here is your income. I only care about here.
Yeah.
Like I care more about the income because
Yeah.
this can you can increase this higher than you can decrease this.
For sure. I feel it because I feel like
You
bottom is like the budgeting that's like low-key kind of fear-based.
Yeah.
This one's exciting.
Yeah.
It's future. It's opportunity like up here. So
Heck yeah.
it's easier to like live on this space than
Yeah.
every day be like budget.
All right, we're going too deep into this one, but so anyways, going back. Well, Jenna's in the process of flipping her first flip.
Yeah,
that she's
let's
doing
hear.
on her own.
Let's hear about this
Right?
because this
And
thing's
so-
almost at the end.
It
Right?
looks good. She did a
All right.
great job, and I think she's gonna make bank. But you don't know until the offer comes in. So I want to ask Jenna, like, what kind of emotions are you feeling right now with all your hormones and stuff? You know,
My hormones.
like, yo, are you scared? Are you happy? Excited?
I'm not scared.
Yeah.
because you're
because
confident.
because I know my numbers. I know what we need to break even,
Mm-hmm.
and anything above that is just a bonus on top.
Love it.
Going into it's not our first flip. We've partnered with other people before, so I have resources. I have mentors that I can reach out to for help. So this one being our first one, just solely on our own financially, just me project managing. It's been a great experience because like it proves to myself that I'm very capable of doing
Yeah.
this. This is a very male dominant industry. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I know a
terms
lot of
of-
women out there crushing this industry.
Like in flipping?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But
I mean,
but-
like you look at the
So
statistics.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
male
yeah.
in it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so just to see that, hey, I'm capable of doing this. I've taken from, this house that needed work to now it's on the market, getting great feedbacks from people.
Yeah.
And, just like knowing that I can do it. So,
yeah. And you did it, girl.
well, we'll see. Again, it comes with the emotions. It is
Yeah.
a roller coaster of emotions. Well, the first emotion with just getting the property, the loan, I feel like there's multiple milestones. It's from getting the loan, closing on it, and now from day one of construction to now hitting the market, that's the second milestone. Now the third milestone is now getting the offer, and from the offer to the closing table. That's another milestone too.
But, a lot of it's like you have your team.
Yeah.
Like, you're not the one getting the offer to the finish line. The agents are, right?
Yeah.
And they're getting paid, obviously, on the deal. And so, and even when you're doing the work, it's the contractors who are like your team. So it's like you build up good teams, and then you calculate your numbers, there's really nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
You just keep the emotions out of it.
You have to really build, like, emphasizing on the team. I know where my skill sets are, and I wanted to make sure we have the people to do the job, like whether I shouldn't be the one to do everything. If I know my skill set is to project manage and to find the people and to do that, that's where I should focus on. But do I want to be the listing agent listed? I don't want to be the listing agent. That's I can sell, but then I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I rather have somebody else do it that is dominant in the industry and to do a very good job at it.
What I learned is that when you do stuff that you don't like, people think that, oh, I'm saving money.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I do everything, I'll actually save money and therefore I'm making money. But what happens is that you take a toll on your energy.
Yeah.
And it's like that energy that you spent project managing or listing the property could have been spent finding another property, therefore making you more money.
Yeah.
So build a team, pay up, don't be a little cheapskate. Okay.
Yeah.
Penny saved is not a penny earned. It's just a penny.
Yeah.
So go focus on the big numbers.
And build that relationship too. Like,
Yep.
what I'm learning now is like having my contractors, everyone that was a part of the project now is just building that relationship. And
Yeah, make sure you give your contractors a little bonus too when you hit that big number,
Yeah. Okay.
even if I don't hit a big number, I'm still gonna give them a bonus.
Yeah,
you
you have
like
to.
everyone's
Yeah.
gonna eat, everyone's gonna win.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Oh, I'm going to end the podcast here because I want her to come back a second time
Yes.
when she sells this thing. I want to, we can do a little deep dive on how she, the emotions a little bit more and the celebration, of course. But Jen, is there anything you want to add or end the podcast with? Like any advice for the listeners out there? The young Jennas, the older Jennas,
Yeah.
the Jennas with the kids, the Jenna with the 2 boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jenna got a boy and a girl, but
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
what I'm saying.
I think for the moms or just anyone out there that's always giving too much of themselves, that you need to always prioritize yourself and always have self-care, because you got to take care of yourself before you can even have a business. And that, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jenna, you're a mom. You're
entrepreneur.
You're a wife.
Mompreneur.
And you're absolutely crushing it. And I learned a lot about your story today. And, I learned a lot. You have a really good head on yourself and big goals and big dreams. And I know you're going to accomplish it. So thank you for being on the show. Guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, share it with 5 friends. Please share it with all the mothers and whatnot. And we'll see you guys on the next show. Peace out, guys.